Welcome back to another episode of the Other Epic Story Reading. Today we're going to finish off Chapter 4. Delaine's awakening had caused a decline in the Barnwell family's productivity. Bernard, who weeks in advance had aimed to fill a certain quota of work, was severely stalled by the reminder of the stranger in his house and the creeping thief in the mountains. It would be a tough winter if his and his family's chores start falling short of that important mark. An hour wasted could mean a day without firewood or dinner. It was important for Bernard to stay focused and let whatever happens to Delaine happen. Bernard trusted Delaine like any other man. When Delaine explained his story to him during dinner, he understood his intention: survival. He showed little threat or malice. He held no grudge with Cassandra and was almost grateful to be struck. He spoke lightly about his purpose in Jen, and that was the part Bernard found most disingenuous. Jen had gone many generations without any sort of law enforcement, so when Delaine announced that his occupation in North Bourbon was a sheriff, Bernard could only bite his tongue. To Cassandra and Bernard, a sheriff was a job for those who come from wicked places, governed in a manner of miscommunication. Delaine identified their concerns and explained that North Bourbon was not so different from Jen in that sense. He told them that his old home ran the same way as theirs. A small board of council ran the city. The head of houses governed the towns the same way Jen did, and occupations and careers were passed on from generation to generations, from father to son, from mothers to daughters. The lawman gained a bit of celebrity status in the town, but he had no more power than the baker, except he had the gun. The gun was something that concerned Bernard, and rightly so. Having never seen one until it fell out of Delaine's pants while Blair was helping him haul the unconscious man into the house, he wasn't sure how to treat it, like glass or like fire. He had to snatch the gun from Byron as he followed behind. With a brief explanation of what it was, his children understood the severity of the situation. A man with a lethal weapon had snuck onto their property. What would happen next if Cassandra didn't take action? Needless to say, Bernard was very apprehensive. "You understand why I wish to hold on to the pistol a little longer," said Bernard as he pulled Delaine aside after dinner. "Your situation is a particular one, and your trust is something I must earn," replied Delaine as he glanced at Chloe from the corner of his eyes. "I intend to earn your trust and eventually my gun. I ask you, what can an honest man do to achieve it? You proved to me you are not a menace, first, by replacing the rock cheese that my wife wasted upon striking you. Then, you assist me on the fields tomorrow morning." "A fair offer, and I accept," said Delaine. "Though I must remind you that your home would only be a brief stop for me. When I am rested, I must be off. Somewhere the man who slain my wife remains. Unless he had planted roots in Jen, you must consider my stay temporary." "Tell me again," said Bernard, in a hushed tone so his children won't hear. "What are your intentions? Is it to wander the world until you find the man you seek? What are your plans once you catch him? Bring him justice with blood and bullets? Will that satisfy you? Will that satisfy your wife?" "There are certain things a man cannot think about," said Delaine. "Cassandra is a lovely woman, a lady, truly passionate about you. You will not dare to imagine what would happen the day you lose her. I sure did not. But now this is what I must do. I've come to expect that not all things will go my way, hence the way of life. But if I have one objective that remains and one more goal to achieve, then may it be the force that moves my steps. May it keep me searching for a common goal. I don't seek justice anymore, Bernard. I simply seek closure. A period to my sentence, wherever it may be. The satisfaction and relief has passed. My purpose has faded with it. I apologize for the question if it had offended you. Nothing you say can offend me, said Delane. I am in your debt. Perhaps in time I could do more for you than to simply earn your trust. I can offer a lucky man a glimpse into the terror of a broken heart. The man, if he was a liar, had suffered no less if he had been honest. Whatever he was hiding, it was clear to Bernard that it did not and would not affect him. All men had secrets. Bernard, as clean-cut as he was, could still admit that. But the truth hidden beneath Delane's eyes was a sinister look into his past. May his past remain in the vault of his memories. Winter is a rough season in Jin, said Bernard. I wish I could offer you a place to stay until spring, but we can only fend for ourselves here. You must leave, and I must end my hospitality as the moons pass. I'm suitable at serving myself, thanks, said Delane. I ask little in return, but perhaps things will change with time. They certainly might, said Bernard. Rest now. I'll be needing your assistance tomorrow. I've told Chloe to assist you if you still feel ill. Delane smiled as he caught Chloe's eyes. I remain in your debt, he said, nodding politely. Your son wishes to have his room back, and I aim to please my host, so I would like to ask for another area to sleep tonight that won't be of disturbance. Nonsense, said Bernard. There are certain things that boy must learn, and patience is one of them. He had grown spoiled and weak. I'll tell him you are ill and must take rest in his bed. I insist. Blair will do as I say. You are the father, said Delane. I will abide by your rules, yet I do not wish to be a disturbance. That will simply be something you have to deal with, Sheriff, said Bernard with a laugh. Tomorrow morning the whole town will know of you. You are a great disturbance, whether you like it or not. That is a discouraging thought, said Delane. You arrive with a gun, said Bernard. People will demand a reason. It's worrisome times now. Autumn brings out the worst in people. Bad things happen here, but you should not worry about that tonight. There will be time and matters to discuss after some rest. Now go. Delane offered one cordial bow before turning to the room. Bernard watched as he disappeared behind the door. Chloe, who had been cleaning, was the only person left in the kitchen with him. She looked away, cautious of her father's gaze. She was worried he could see the admiration for the stranger in her eyes. Bernard had always been protective of his oldest daughter, yet he could no longer shield her from danger. She had matured too rapidly. Her womanly needs had exceeded his communication skills and his knowledge. He had missed his opportunity to be the father he imagined many years ago. Sure, she still loved him and appreciated every aspect of their relationship, but now it was only a blood bond, a name they shared. Barnwell, not Lovewell, not Carewell, but Barnwell. Her choices would be her own, and Bernard, despite being the father, cannot stop her. He can support her, as he had done for 17 years, but that is all. For now, there were no signs of storms in her eyes, but clouds were moving in. Good night, Chloe, said Bernard as he slipped out of his shoes. It has been a long day. Do rest. Okay, Dad, she replied from the table. Good night.